Okay, welcome then to this session, or welcome back as we look at supporting systematic views in part two of a two-part series. We looked at part one recently, which regards the searching aspect. Now we're looking at the management or processing of search results, having run that search in support of a systematic review. So if anyone has joined and was not on part one, or if you've not attended one of my sessions, I'm Richard Crooks. I'm a senior customer training specialist for EBSCO based in the East Midlands in England, supporting yourselves, library services in the UK, Ireland, and the Nordics, having previously worked in the NHS myself. So welcome back to this part two. And in terms of the objectives for this particular session, by the end of it, I hope you'll be able to save and download and share up to 500 search results. Now, I deliberately put a number in there because there's a new feature that you may not have seen that I want to refer to. So don't be put off by that only 500 search results, because obviously there's ways to save more. But I want to highlight that feature in particular. You'll be able to export and save results in RIS and related formats into bibliographic software. You'll also be able to save and rerun searches. This is a new feature which has also been launched recently, and also create projects and add searches and results. And also finally find further support information for managing your searches and results on the EBSCO interface, whether you're using CINAHL or MEDLINE in this case. Okay, so moving on in terms of what we'll look at, I will preview some of the features before we get into the live demonstration. But in terms of the multi-select option, you'll see on this screenshot, you can download or select up to 500 records to download, save, add to the projects folder, which is your customer folder within the new interface, share, which could be via Google Drive, OneDrive, email, site, and also do a direct export result. So that figure now has changed. So originally it was 50. You could still view only 50 per page, but you can now select up to 500 records. Now, there is a caveat to this. You need to be signed in as a personal user. So that means you need a EBSCO personal user account and sign into it before that feature appears. If you're not signed in, it will show you the standard selection of up to 50 records, which is 50 records per page essentially, that you can view, save, download, and so on. So that feature is available to those who have a personal user account. So we generally recommend creating an account. If you use EBSCO single sign-on, as it's available in organisations like the NHS in England, then that won't be an issue, because once you authenticate into CINAHL MEDLINE via the Open Athens account you have, you will automatically be signed into a personal folder. So that issue won't be a problem. So again, for those who don't have EBSCO single sign-on, if you still authenticate in a normal fashion and then users are required to create an account, then they must do so. So you may ask, why is that? And that's mainly because we are obviously have to honor publisher agreements, and also for the monitoring of potential data harvesting as well. So again, there's a reason for requiring a sign-in option, but we'll see how that works as we go to the live demonstration. But just to let you know now, you can select, save, download, etc., up to 500 results from the result list directly, and that includes you can do a direct export of 500, and there is more through other ways, as we'll see. So also a recent enhancement to this interface that you may have got a glimpse of in previous sessions if you've attended them is the share option, which now allows you to choose different options to share via email. So in this screenshot, you'll see the detailed citation option is there, which allows you to select various fields, deselect some, select others that you want to include when you share those records. Again, it could be up to 500 records, but you can customize which fields are displayed in the resultant email, etc. So there's still the brief citation option, which can include the abstract if you wanted to have it that way. You can also choose a default format like Harvard, for example, as well. So if you prefer to send it in that format, you can. So there's a choice of 3 formats essentially when you're sharing the content from the result list. Again, we'll look at that as we go through the live demonstration. In addition, as always, and as with the original classic interface, which you've now switched from, if you've not done so before, it would have been a couple of days ago, then you have the option to export up to 25,000 records. So although you can do a direct export of up to 500 from the result list, as we'll see, ultimately, if you're looking to export a lot more content, then we will support up to 25,000 in one session. So the option is there to select. That will then generate the appropriate form. So once you select that, you can also do the same, by the way. You can select the option on the right as well to site. So you can export 25 up to 20,000 records. It could be 1,200, it could be 2,000, it could be 20,000. You'll be sent a link to your inbox, which you can then access and then extract that information. That link will be valid for up to 7 days. The alternative, of course, is to do a direct export, as I mentioned, and you can even do a direct export from the records. So you see this tools menu highlighted there, the 3 dots there. We call it the kebab menu in some instances. That will open up the site box that you see there, and you can export the citation. So you can do it for individual records, and you can do it for a batch up to 500 from the bulk action toolbar when you select 500 records, or as shown here also, you can select the export results up to 25,000, and that will generate a link that will go to your inbox as well. So again, you can see the export citation selected, and that includes RIS format. Okay, so you'll see here again, the search can be downloaded in a variety of formats, including, so again, you open up the search history. You got the bulk action toolbar, which also now allows you to edit, to delete the search history as well. So that's a relatively recent feature. So the search history can be downloaded in a variety of formats. You can also use the save ribbon to save searches as well, by the way. So with the download option, it can be PDF, Word, CSV, XML, and so on. Okay, so if you just want a table of the search history, you can save it as download it as a CSV file, and then you can edit that in Excel, deleting columns, adjusting columns, and so on. Again, you can see those options highlighted there. And then you would just literally just click the download option, and that will be available to you. Another feature that was launched recently is the Save Search Set option, which allows you to save the entire search history, so the entire sequence, as it were, to the save folder, which you can run at a later date. So there's the Save Search Set option highlighted there on screen. So once you've got your search loaded, then you can click that button, and that will be saved to the saved folder within your EBSCO folder, as it were. Okay, and then when you go to that, you can then rerun it on the database. So again, we'll see that live shortly. Okay, so just want to introduce some of those key elements, especially the newer items like the multi-select up to 500 and the save search sets particularly, which is very recent. So what I'm going to do now is go back to the search we ran previously. Okay, so let me just collapse this and I'll share my screen with you. So we'll come to CINAHL shortly. So you should now see the CINAHL database open in the new interface. You can see there's a number of changes that be aware of, which are also referred to in part 1 as well. So the first one, of course, is the new navigation, which now appears at the top of the screen. So that's been mandated for everyone, so not just for certain organizations. That cannot be changed, by the way, at the moment. So you can add additional links here under Research Tools, by the way. I think it's a minimum of 4 currently. It can be, or up to 4, and it will increase up to 10. So I've got the EBSCO Connect support page there currently available. And then, of course, the Browse By feature includes the publications link. So publication indexed in CINAHL. If we're a MEDLINE, it will be publication indexed in MEDLINE, and the equivalent subject index, so subheadings, or if you're a MEDLINE, the mesh terms. So just a reminder that that is changed. And we also have the interface or language selector for the interface. So you can see here English by default, and then other language like Norwegian here, for example, as well. So this just changes the interface language essentially for any non-native English speakers, or if someone prefers to use it in their own native language, as it were, according to those languages that are specified. We then have the EBSCO area here, so this feature here. So you'll notice currently I'm not signed in, so I'm not using EBSCO single sign-on at this time, but I have got the projects folder, the save folder, recent activity, which includes a search history and viewed records, and the alerts feature, which would include the journal alerts that I would set up and search alerts and my preferences, which I can adjust. So if I don't have an account, I can create one. So just to point out then that it's generally advisable that you would do that. But before I do that now, if I just look at the records first of all, so I've hidden the search history so far, so let me just open it up so you can see it's here, right? So this is the search that we ran previously related to adult cancer patients who experience fatigue, and we're looking at meditation as an intervention to improve the quality of life. So again, you can see here the results I've got here. The search sets are labeled, the search strings are indicated, search options are displayed, although they're not necessarily applicable because we're using the field codes to search command line queries. The results, which you can view, and you can jump to different result sets here. and then you can see which database we're using, which is CINAHL, of course, the save ribbon, and we'll come to that as well, and then the tools menu where you can edit the search string, add to a project folder, or delete if necessary. And just to mention here, there is the bulk delete now. So if you select the set and you want to clear the page, you can click delete here, and it will prompt you or reassure you if you want to do that, or check with you, do you want to do that? So again, if you don't want to, just cancel that. But obviously there is the functionality now to delete the search history to clear the screen. But I'll just hide it in the background for now as we look at some of the other elements. So the first thing I want to mention is the save and the select option. So with these results in view, I've got 186 results here in total, and you can see here I've got the option to select these results. And if I do that, you'll see, and I click the drop down, at the moment, you'll see I can select all on this page, 50 or 1 to 50. So at the moment, I've only got the option to save up to 50. Now you may wonder why, again, if you missed the point, I said 500 and it's only 50. That's because I'm not signed in as a EBSCO user. Okay, so what I would do here at this time, if I want to save, 186 results, so I can save all 186 if you like in one set, then what I could do here is go to my EBSCO folder on the top right, go to that button there, and then either create an account if I don't have one. So I could go in here and create an account with my first name, last name is optional, email address, create the password, note the criteria when you create a password to ensure that you're adhering to that, and then agree to the consent form. We have the privacy policy if anyone has any questions about that, and then create the account. And then once you have that, you can click to sign in here, and then you can log in once you've been approved, etc. So sign in here, and then we'll go back to the interface. And this time, not only does it say Richard on the top right there, so it'll be personalized for you. So switch from my EBSCO to the name. And then also, if I scroll down now, you'll see when I select these records and then drop down, it now gives me the option to select 500. Now I've got 186 records here, so that's fine. So if I select 500 here, okay, and then what I could do, I could either download or save, etc. So in this instance, I may want to just save them for now. So I click the save ribbon, okay. Now prompts me to the range. So it could be a minimum of 1, it could be up to 500. So this is fine. So I can save now. Okay, so bear in mind this error is this has been reported. So again, this is a bit intermittent. So I try and save again here, cancel that. We might find it disappears, but I know it's been reported as an issue currently. No, this was only released a couple of weeks ago. So go to my name and save. So they will be saved in the save folder. I'm going to double check if it has been saved. Just waiting for that to load up. I have got some so these 37 I saved previously. So unfortunately it hasn't saved those right now. There's an error there. But what I will show you here in the save folder is that I can also remove records as well. So these are from a previous search. Notice also, by the way, that save records do now include links to the full text where available as well. So this is also a new feature. So you can still get to the full text when you view saved records as well, in addition to the detailed citation and so on. So what I could do here with these records, and I can show up to 50 per page. So that means I can unsave or remove these 37 records. If I select unsave, now these are gone. Okay. So again, I can go back to my search. I'll try again in case that is just gone. I know it's intermittent. I've had a conversation with another colleague about this and it has been reported. So I'll go in again and select 500, click save, and we'll leave it on that, of course, and then save. And unfortunately, it could be a browser issue. I'm not sure. I might need to clear my cache, but unfortunately, it's not doing what it should do at the moment. But that is the principle. Okay, so if anyone else has that problem, please let us know. We can append it to the existing case, but obviously it may be working for you and not just for me. This is a demonstration site I'm using, so unfortunately that's not saved. We may find as we go through the session it's picked up, as it were, or been refreshed. But again, I'll probably need to clear my cache ultimately. But if anyone else is having that problem, please let us know. But that is live, by the way. So again, I'm not sure why that's happening. Okay, so again, in principle then, if you were then at saving, if you were looking to download those records, you could do the same thing, select 500 and then download. We'll see if this works. And then again, you could choose the choice of format. So for example, if we go for Word here, and then we choose that range. If you had, say, more than 500, you would have 500 to 1,000. And then more than that, you'd have, 1,000, 1 to 500, 500 to 1,000, 1,000 to 1,500. It works that way, as it were. So click download. So multiples of 500. Okay, so click download here. Again, I don't think that is working as it should. So it should open up a file, but unfortunately it's not doing it. I've had it open for some time, by the way, as well, so in preparation for the session. But at least I can show you the principles here. Again, it's early days. It's only released recently. So unfortunately, there's still an issue with it right now, and at least for me. So again, it might not be for you. And then add to project. So again, in principle, you would also do the same thing. Add to project. Choose the project you want to add to. So if I don't have a project, I might have an existing one here. Perhaps I don't. So what I'll do here, click new project. And then it will give me the option to put this adult cancer patients meditation. So again, this one, and I'll put 07, I'll put CINAHL actually, just for now. Due date, if I have a date or deadline to complete this project, which is a search essentially, and then create this project. Okay, so now I have that project, and and the project has been created. So now I can choose that project to save these records. Okay, and unfortunately, it's just not good timing. Probably after this session, it'll be working nice and fine, but with a live session, you know how these things go with software. So unfortunately, that is not good. So let me just go back to the projects. And then, so again, it's not showing up here, by the way. So, yeah, let's see. Okay, but at least you'll get the point, I think, of how you use it. So again, there's just some technical issues there behind the scenes. So, and then also, if you do the same, in theory, if you select 500 here and then share, again, you would have the range. So 1 to 500, Google Drive, OneDrive, or otherwise you've got the email option, enter your email address, choose the range, which of course is 1,500, 1 to 500. And then this is where you can change the display. So by default, in this account, it's brief citation, and I can include the abstract. If preferred, you can customize this in EBSCO Experience Manager to go to detailed citation and then determine which fields you want displayed and which ones you don't want displayed. Okay, so you have the multiple fields there. And then once you're satisfied, you selected the right fields. Okay, links, PubMed ID, then you'd send from here. Okay, so it'd go from there. So those 500 records will be emailed to you. And again, there's an error. So again, there's something going on behind the scenes that we need to investigate or follow up with. And then the cite tool. Okay, so cite tool is where you can generate the citations. Again, you can choose the reference style. So the default is Harvard. You can choose Chicago, whichever there, but again, that can be customized as to what the default reference style should be. The range is given, again, it's less than 500, so we won't see 500 to 1,000, and then you can copy it all to the clipboard from here. Okay, and then if preferred, we have the direct export option. So again, you've got the option now to directly export to 500 records into RIS format, so for a RIS file. Or if you're working with RefWorks or Endnote, you've got those options as well. So again, I close that for now. Now, of course, you may want to go through the list and save individual records. So for example, I can untick here, and it's not doing that now for some reason. Okay, I can delete that, deselect. So you've got deselect, by the way, as well. So I just discovered that. You've got the option to select individual records using the save ribbon as well. So again, go through that. Or if you go into a specific record, for example, and you've got, by the way, you've got the tools here, the kebab tools here, cite here again, add to project, share, download. So again, if I want to download this record, I can click download here, choose Word and download. Okay, so and download the metadata, and I can save that file and view that on offline, as it were. Likewise, if I wanted to share this record here, again, I've got the choices, and with the individual records, you can also create a link to the record as well and copy that to the clipboard. Or email, again, you can choose whichever format works best for you. Again, you can add the abstract, remove accession number, keywords, add others like links, public ID, and send. Okay, so obviously this is working fine with individual records at the moment currently, as you see here. That's been sent. Okay, and then there's also the cite tool here as well, which allows you to do to copy the citation in preferred format and also to export it as a RIS file or RefWorks, Endnote, etc. So again, those features are working fine currently. And if I click on through to the actual article itself, again, those tools are there as well to save, cite, and export, add to projects. That's the project folder. So I can go in here and add that to a project here. Click Add Now, and that's saved there. The Share tool is also available once more. Again, I create a link to this record if I need to. And then the download option is also available, so I can choose Word here, click Download, save that file, and just show what that looks like. I can open it up here. I'll just share that on my screen once it's appeared, drag that across. Okay. So again, you can see this in Word format, so of course that can be edited as well, and includes the link as well, the persistent link to this record. Okay, so that's also available as well. So those tools menus are available, and if we go back to results here, and if we look at full text here, so we've got this one, access options. So this is available in PDF and online full text. So we go to the PDF article here, this link here to view this. You'll also find, you can obviously read that online, you can save it. You've got the cite tool here again, so you can export the citation if you wish. You can also add it to a project. Again, you can share it, so that means you can, again, create the link to this full text record or save to OneDrive. And again, you can choose the options as well to share, download, and print if you prefer to read it offline in your own time, or share that with a user if you need to. And again, I'm not sure why that's happened. So it's all happening today in this session. So let's come back here. And then the publication contents are also listed here. And the text-to-speech software is also available, by the way. So if you want to have this, listed it online, you can, or you can download the MP3. Okay. Just to mention this, I think I may have mentioned this previously, but if not, the accessibility support option does provide users with an additional option for the content. So again, you can see here the format. So I'm viewing PDF. I can view it online as well. So in a sense, HTML is available, but it's given me the option to choose a Word format for this document. So it may be to do with some, the disabilities of individuals where a Word format would be much more appropriate than PDF. Then they can actually, request that. Typically, it will be available within a 3 to 5 day time frame. So it's not immediately accessible, but they'll receive a copy of that within 3 to 5 days. Okay, so you can add the name, word name, email address to receive that copy. Okay, so again, if you prefer the format in Word as opposed to PDF, then you can request that from that link, that icon. Okay, so we've been looking at those different options there. And again, obviously you can select up to 50. I'm going to see if this works here. Okay. And then you can save those records. And if I go to the save folder, maybe they're stored there now. Let's have a look. Just wait for that to load on screen. Yes. So those 50 records have been saved now. So in principle, you could do the same with 500, just a temporary issue at the moment that we're experiencing, but you've got those records there. And notice the tools menus are also here. So once you've saved items in the save folder, you can also select and download. You can unsave, add to the project. So for example, now that I've saved them, I'm going to add these to that project folder that I created earlier here on this subject, and I can add now, and they'll be stored in the project. Okay. Oh, they already exist. So I've done that before. So because I saved them from the result list, they're already there. Okay, so you avoid any duplication there. And then sharing option is also there as well with the options available as we saw earlier. So again, and the site tool for direct exporting. So you can do a direct export from this menu as well. Okay, so I've got 50 plus there, so I can do an direct export in risk format, RefWorks, and so on. So again, the tools menus are pretty consistent. There are some options there for you as well within the save folder. Okay. And likewise, if you go back to the projects folder as well, so just going to go to projects under my name. So you'll see projects there, the projects folder, and you can see here I've got these projects. Notice you can delete as well, by the way. If you no longer need a project, then you can go in and simply delete that here. So I can go in and delete this one, no longer needed. So it's now removed. And if I go into this project folder, you'll see the records that I saved. And the reason why it wouldn't add those other records to the project from the save folder, because they're already there essentially. Yep, so those 50 records were already there. Okay, so again, the tools are there, and you've got the delete option there, so you can go in and delete records if you wish. Okay, and it always confirms if you want to do that, which I don't, so I'm going to click cancel. But that option is there, as are the downloads, say unsave, add to project, share it, and so on. They're all there. Okay, so that's the projects. Let's see, and then if we go back to the search, okay. Notice also, by the way, I think I pointed this out into the first session, part one, the filters are now on the left. So that is a decision made centrally. If you're part of a consortia, locally you can do this. If you're not, so obviously there is a customization option which allows you to do this. If you've not changed this in EBSCO Experience Manager, you will still see the all filters link above the result list, which will allow you to see the filters on the right side of the screen. So again, it's on the left because I've designated this within the EBSCO Experience Manager tool. So this actually mirrors what they've done in EDGIS England in terms of the customization for the new interface. So while the top navigation doesn't change, apart from any links you may add under search tools, the filters on whether they appear on the left or the right is down to you. Okay, so if you're not seeing it on the right at the moment, it simply means it's not been changed. And if you're happy with the way it is, it can stay the same. If you'd like to see it this way, then we can provide information on how you make that change. Okay, and again, if you're part of a larger organization, a consortia like the NHS, then it will be mostly mandated centrally what appears. Okay, so we've had a good look at the downloading, saving, add to projects, sharing, emailing, etc. records from the result list. And again, we've looked at direct exporting as well, which is, in principle, possible for up to 500 records. Again, you just select these records, and then you would go into the site tool again, and then you would look to save in risk format here. So up to 500 records is possible. Okay, so you would have the risk file for those 500 records. But also, as I mentioned in the PowerPoint, you have the option to export to 25,000. I've only got 186, but I can do an export here. And that will, once I'm signed into my EBSCO account, because it will prompt you to sign in for this, then I would add the email address or addresses and then choose risk format, for example. BibTeX is still available, as is CSV and XML, but you can then send, and then you'll get confirmation on screen that this link has been sent, and that link will allow you to download the metadata, the bibliographic information for those, in this case, 186 records, via the link that is sent. And that link is valid for 7 days, up to 7 days. So that feature, that functionality, by the way, can be used. I think it does say this on here. It's on this screen. Yes. So, the number of results is up to 25,000 with an upper limit of 100,000 in a 24-hour period. Okay, so again, in one sitting, you can export to 25,000 records. Okay, so that is available live, and that mirrors essentially what was possible in the classic interface. So I just seen a comment there from Carolyn. I cannot see search history in the middle of my screen. Is that a special configuration? Yes. So if you want to see the search history, so again, I've got it here. I've just got it hidden in the background. Then there are two places within EBSCO Experience Manager it needs to be configured. So we may take a look at that before the end of the session. So again, I'm just going to click on that now, and you can see the search history here. Okay, so again, that just needs to be enabled. So there are two things. First of all, if I click New Search, this must be your default landing page. Okay, coming to this page. And then the other option is to set the advanced search result list to also advanced. So again, I can point out to you through the EBSCO Connect menu shortly as well. Okay, so again, there's options there to do that. So just going back to the search. And just to recap really about the search itself, before we look at downloading and saving it, there are options once you've run the search and you want to change it, in line as it is right now. So of course, you can go into edit search sets. So for example, I can go and edit the first string, S1, go to the tools menu, edit search details, and then go to edit search, and then you can change the terms here. So for example, I didn't add malignancy. So what I can do here, I can add malignant and truncate that. So that's malignant or malignancy or malignancies. And then I can sorry, I got that spelling wrong before, didn't I? Malignant. Okay. No. Let me get this right. Malignant. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Malignant. Yes. I did spell that wrong before in a previous session, and I appreciate the person who advised me of that. And I was able to make that change. So again, it's quite easy to edit the search string if you made a mistake like that before. And then I will just click out here. And then you should see that change in the search history. It should be edited now. And then you can see it's added. Okay. And it may have impacted the results in a good way. It might have increased the hits. Let's see if we've got any more than 100. Yeah, we've got 188 here now. So again, 188 references. Although I'm still not sure why 186 is showing. It may be a deduplication. So what I can do here, you'll see this figure here. This relates to the hit count. So this tells us that hit count, how hit counts are calculated, but that's when searching across multiple databases. So you get the total results and then unique results. Now I'm intrigued because it may have removed duplicate records within CINAHL. So I'm actually searching within CINAHL, and you can see the database pancake there. So that's the pancake. Shows us we're searching CINAHL, not any other database. So again, it's consistent here as well. So we are searching only one database, but we've got 186 records here, although we had 188 in the result list. So I'm not sure why that is. If I go to, and by the way, there's another feature here. If I scroll down here, we now have the pagination. So I can jump to page 4 here. So that's also a new feature. So I'm on the final result list. And if I scroll down, (186) unique records are found. So again, I'm not sure why it's 188 and then with you 186. I'm assuming there may be some duplicate records within CINAHL. It doesn't say that. It does say these are unique records. But again, going back to the search history, it says 188. So if I click on that link here, it's going to see what's going to happen here because I can report on this. Again, we've had released a lot of new features in the last week or so. And now it's saying 188. So there's a number of things I need to report. So it's saying 188. Again, I'll go back to the bottom of the page in case it does show 186 as the final result set. It shouldn't really display that because obviously the deduplication is taking place when you are viewing more than one database. So if I was cross-searching CINAHL and MEDLINE, which is possible, then that would show up. So I'm just going to check here. Yeah, so I don't know, that's another glitch I need to report on. So we'll keep our product managers busy, our support team busy. Unfortunately, just a couple of glitches there. Again, need to find out why. So again, it's pretty new. I mean, this interface has been around for over a year now, but it's also been developed more and more over the last few months. and especially in the last few weeks. Okay, so let me see what else we need to do. Okay, now we'll go back to the search history. So there are a couple ways to save this. Well, the one that I think I'll show you focus is actually within the search history itself. So when you've got the search history displayed here, you can, of course, select the sets and you can download from here as well. It will give you the choice of formats, PDF by default, but you can go for Word or CSV if you prefer a table. So if I go to CSV this time, click download. Okay, once it's downloaded, I'll save this. I will then open this up for you in Excel, and then you can have a look at that. Okay, to see if there's an option that may work for you. So some might go for Word, but I think more and more may opt for this kind of Excel spreadsheet type approach. I'm just going to tidy up a little bit here before I show that on screen with you. So what I might do, I'm just going to drag this across and you should see that now. So this is opened in Excel. This is the CSV format. Okay, so as you can see, it's quite a lot of information. I've got the set numbers on the left there, so I can just center that. The type of search, so again, do I need that information? Maybe not, so I could delete that column. The query, of course, itself is important. Okay, the expanded query may or may not be important, so I can just skip that for now. And then I've got when the search was run. Again, I might note that. So do I need it here for each set? Maybe not, so I could delete that for now. Okay, the result set, obviously important. And then we've got filters like age is included, the publication date. So I've got, and that's interesting, 2016, yes, 10 years, that's right. These don't really impact the search because I'm not doing unqualified search. So I could delete these. Obviously, we're using database, number of databases 1, so I just cancel that. I'll go that. So again, you can tweak this, you can sort this, you can customize this, tidy this up, make this. Let's see, put this here. Let's just go through these steps here. Okay, so again, you can change some of this. Maybe you'll get rid of the expanded query, for example, just delete that, and then just focus on the results, etc., and so on. Again, some of these you don't need, but you've got the filters there included. So again, you can see the search sets, the query, the combined queries, and then this, and maybe even take out CINAHL, because obviously you could report that you're using CINAHL in other ways. So you can even delete the interface. So again, you can focus on these elements, etc. Okay, so again, there are things that you could do within Excel to change this. Of course, you can use other formats as well. So I wanted to highlight that for you. Save ribbon. So again, you can save the search strings by the save ribbon, and that, as you might guess, is going to be saved into the save folder. So I'm hoping that's saved now. So go in and saved. And then go to searches. And then you can see, let's see now. Yep, so this is a previous one I did earlier. Okay. So this is the interesting. Okay, no, this is another one. So I don't think that's saved, unfortunately. So again, there's some issues here at the moment we need to report on. Quite a few actually, unfortunately. In a couple of days, a few days, probably none of that will be appearing, but unfortunately it's early days this is only the second session, by the way, part 2, of course, where I've highlighted these features which are new. So again, just not appearing as they should. There is the option to obviously add to a project as well. So again, you can add the search strings to a project. So again, I can choose the same project as created before. Click Add Now, and then go to the project folder on the top right under my name, and then you should see that there as a search within this project. So if I go to Searches tab, you can now see this search. Okay, so that's the search that I ran. Okay, so it's there. Okay, so again, even from this menu, you can go in and unsave, or you can add it to another project if you wish, or delete if preferred. Okay, so that's the projects folder. And let's go. I know we're still doing okay for time. I know someone at least one person had to leave early. That's fine. And then if we resort this again. So we have introduced what we call save search set. I mentioned that in the PowerPoint. So what we'll do now here is click this option on the right, just above the results set. Add the name. Again, it could be adult cancer patients. You see I've done this before. I'll put 07 this time, 26. In fact, maybe I've done that already. I just put RC, my initials, in case I have another set of the same name. Description if you need it, and click save. Okay, so if I go into my save folder now, and go there. And then you see we've got these three tabs. So we've seen records before, searches before, but we've now got search sets. And you can see here, it gives the search sets. Now we've got two of these. I did one earlier for CINAHL, which I reran to show you. And now I've got this one here. So if I click on this set, you can see it saves the search string. I can resort. You can see the order, the sequence, etc. I can even go in and unsave elements if I wanted to, etc. And I can also go in to a project. I can't edit the search string from this page, by the way. But what I can do is select and rerun. I can download it, of course, as well, still. So I can download in the formats we saw earlier from this page, but I can also now rerun this search set. Okay, so it's rerunning the search, and that'll appear in the search history now. Now I've seen it overwrite the existing search. I've seen it also appended to the search. So I think this one is overwritten. Yes. So this is now the new search rerun. Okay, it's the same results that we've got, but basically it means you can save this result set, this search set, and that will save up to 200 lines. I've got 15, so it's S1 to 15. It could be S1 to 200. You can save it as a complete search set. You can view that in the save folder, as we saw. So go to search sets again. Okay, so again, once you click on it, it will give you the complete search history. Okay. So again, you can run the search in its entirety in that sequence, as it were. Now, what you can also do with search sets is rename them. So for example, if I wanted to rename this one item 3, go in, edit, I'll put influenza vaccine and risk of pneumonia. Okay. I can also maybe prefix it with something like a database, but I can click save now. And then also I can, of course, I can delete as well, but I can also sort alphabetically. So again, once you had numerous search sets saved, then you can sort them alphabetically. So you may have your own naming convention. So I've obviously got 2 adult cancer fatigue patients, adult cancer patients, I've got a CINAHL search filter, immunotherapy, and so on. So alphabetically, they're now sorted. I can sort by the most recent as well. I think that's the default sort. So again, you can see what you did recently. But again, you may have your own way of coding these searches, your own naming conventions, but you can sort them alphabetically and also Z to A as well. Okay, so again, there are numerous ways to sort. So you can edit the name, edit the description. So for example, I go into this one, I can add description, search for session on literature searching. So this one I used in MEDLINE, searching in MEDLINE. So this one has one that I ran before. So click save here. And click on this link. You'll see it gives me the description here. So again, you might add a description. It could be in relation to who it's for, which department, the colleagues you're working with, etc. So again, it's free text. You can add the description to give you that bit more information. Okay. Okay, so that's search sets. So they can be rerun. Again, that's been waited for. That's long anticipated, as it were. So that is launched. That is available. And of course, once you've got your search history enabled, you will see those display in the center of the screen, as it were. Okay. Now, just to remind you also, in recent activity, I mean, probably not using this as much now as we were when it first launched. you've got recent activity. That is tracking the searches I'm performing as well. So it does give a default search history. You can see the search strings in reverse chronological order as well. So I can resort these for the oldest and then the sequence I started with. But probably less likely to be used now that we have saved search sets, etc. Again, you can download from here. You can add to a project as well, or delete if you need to. And then view records. Okay. Then you go in here and delete any records that you viewed, which I'll do that now, and click search history. Now, I think I found once you delete from here, it will delete the search in the search history. So if I go to delete here, I'm just going to actually, let me go to see, yeah. Just seeing how it's got 10 sets here. Why it says 10. Okay, show more searches here. Okay, 15. So if I delete, select these. So if I delete here, I've got a feeling. I go back to my search now. I click new search, then go back to my search history. I've got a feeling it may have deleted it. And perhaps it hasn't. No, maybe it hasn't. It's done something anyway, because I'm only on. Yeah, interesting. So again, some things there to play with. But if the bottom line now is, if you were finished with this, if you already saved it as a search set, and now you want to start again on another search, then you can go in, select all, click the delete icon, and then agree to delete, and that will clear the screen for you. So that's now disappeared. There's nothing in the search history. It's blank. Okay, so then you can start your next search. Okay. Okay, question from Liz there. Can you save more than one search set to a project? So different versions. So a search set is, let me go in here, is saved. Just check here. Yeah, so you can't actually, if I click on this, edit there. So edit there, it gives you the name and the description fields. If I click on the project, it's this here, then I cannot actually move this to, this cannot be saved to a project at this time. So essentially I can either download the search here, or I can rerun it. I cannot save this to a project. So it's basically saved to the save folder as a search set. Okay. So again, with the save search, you can, so for example, I go into searches here. This search, by the way, I can add that to a project. Okay. Okay, so it's now name already exists in that, so I'd have to give it a different name essentially. So I can't save that one there. So I don't think, yeah, all items exist in this project exist in the selected project. So again, so the question is, can you save more than one search set to a project? Okay, so you should be able to save more than one search to a project, but obviously I've got the same thing here. If I go to this one, for example, it's not related necessarily, but if I click add now, yeah. So if I go into my project now, I got this one here. I think this one I chose. Go to searches and go to, actually, interesting. Yeah, it's just going to add it to the end, I think. Yeah. Okay, so I added this search here. Okay, so with search sets, you cannot, so it's added different searches in the same project, as it were. Sorry, not project, the project folder. Okay, but it's actually added the search strategy itself. It's interesting. I mean, what you could do, generally speaking, when you're adding to a project, what I would do typically is save it first. So for example, I would go into, not this one, sorry, not this one. Go into this set here. Okay. I would go into the save, so these, yeah, this is changed somewhat. If I go just to this set here and view these records from a search, I can select the tools menu above that and save the search here. Okay, and I'd overwrite this and I'd put in, sorry, just save one line there, but I'll put call this quality of life. Okay, so I would save this as a search. Okay, click close. Then I could go into my save folder, go to searches, and then this one here, I can add to a project. So again, I can add to the same project as before. This one here, add now. And if I go to my projects, okay, and I can't remember which one I added it to. Was it this one? In searches, yeah, quality of life. So I've got multiple searches within this project. Oh, sorry, within this, yeah. Okay. Again, there's some flexibility in terms of what you can do with the. Okay, right. So you want to show? Okay, I'll show it again. So what I did, let me just go back. Okay. Let me choose the other search I did earlier, which is, I think this, oh, it's changed. Okay, what I might do, let me just clear this. I'm going to rerun what I did before. So click this, just delete this one. Okay, so we'll go back in to new search, go back into my save folder. So I'm going to rerun the search and I'll save it as a search and then add it to a project. So I'll show you that's another way. So this will load up on screen. Actually, this is search set here. So if I go to this one and rerun this one, so rerun this search set. Okay, and we'll look at how to save this search as it is, the save folder, and then move it to the project, as it were, or add it to the project. So what I can do here is, so it's that search we came back to originally. But instead of saving it or downloading it within the search history, I'll just collapse that. I will just go to the tools menu, so search actions, save the search. Okay, so I'll overwrite that. So this was the adult cancer patients with fatigue. Yeah, I just put that one for now. Okay, and then I will save this. So scroll them on the page, save, click close. Once I've got my save folder, so under Richard here on the right, top right, go in. This is being recorded, by the way, so you have this to reference as well once I've edited it. And then go to searches. So this one here, I can select. I don't think you need to select it, to be honest. You can just click add to the project here or on the tools menu, add to project, and then give it to this one. Click add now, then go in to projects. Okay, and if I go in here, you'll see more than one search now. So it's there. Okay. So I've got the other one that was there as well, and I can go in and delete this one, by the way. Just delete that one. Okay. So you've got that one there now stored there as well. Okay, so I hope that helps. I will just also mention here is we've got the EBSCO Connect link here. So this will take you to the quick start guide for EBSCOhost. So this is also being updated to reflect the changes. So if I scroll down, so for example, we look at using the dashboard here. This will reflect the new navigation that you would have seen since last week. Okay, so it's now reflected here. Okay, so it's been updated by our document support team. So again, that's a useful source of information, looking at downloading your search history, etc. Saving search sets, that's a new feature, of course, which I highlighted today. So this was published out a week ago to give you the instructions for that as well. So again, it's worth referring to. Okay, so what I'm going to do is stop sharing here. and go back to the PowerPoint, as I know we're near the hour mark. And what I might do as well before we finish is show you where you can make those changes for the search history, by the way. So just some take-home points. You can save, download, and share up to 500 search results. Obviously, some errors creeping in right now, which are being investigated. So again, I'll report back to our support team about those. Save, export results up to 25,000 records via the link that you can generate, and etc. And also now that you've seen the ability to save and rerun searches using the new Save Search feature. So searches are saved to the save folder and can be rerun from there in their entirety. So you have the projects where you can add searches and results to save them to. And also you can find further support for managing searches and results on EBSCOhost using the link to EBSCO Connect via the Research Tools menu in the new navigation area. So in terms of training support, again, EBSCO Connect, we've seen that already. There's a link directly to that from within the interface. You may have that customized at a later time, especially if you work for consortia. You may have links to their own help pages, etc. But again, by default, it'll be EBSCO Connect is the support page there you go to, connect.ebsco.com. We have, of course, the training resources portal, so you might want to add a link to that to your interface under Research Tools, which you can do using EBSCO Experience Manager. We'll obviously provide more training on that tool as time goes forward. I've got a session coming up, I think, in August on that. So that will give you access to the training videos, previous recordings. I'm updating those to reflect the new changes as we roll out more live sessions, and I edit those and post them. Training sessions, again, for August are being listed shortly. And then we have the support information, including the documentation. Let me, before I finish, just want to go back to the matter of configuring the search history. So what I will do is share my desktop once more. We'll go back to EBSCO Connect, okay, here. And then what I'll do is, now I'm going to see if the Save Search Sets from these features shows you this. If I go to Save Search Sets, I'm not sure this will show you the link to EBSCO Experience Manager. Maybe one on the other links there. If I scroll down here, yeah, configuring search settings for the new interfaces, I think it might be this one. So this refers to the configuration application, which is in EBSCO Experience Manager, one of our two admin tools. And there's more information about getting to that. And then if we look at, scroll down here, so I'll skip some of these. Yeah, so this is where you have the default landing page. So this is EBSCO Experience Manager. Again, if you've not seen it before, I recommend attending one of our training sessions. You have the default landing page, which must be selected advanced. If you want to see the search history, so it's in that is advanced. And then the second area in the same page within EBSCO Experience Manager, it must also be this as well. So what I'll do here, I will also mention, I will put this in the Teams chat for you to refer to. It's just an additional item. So I just put a link to that document in relation to EBSCO Experience Manager. There are links to that as well, and you can find information about how you request an account for access if you do not already have that. Obviously, presuppose you have admin rights, or you will have admin rights to make those changes. So you may have colleagues, heads of service and so on, who may be responsible for that. So again, you need to discuss that with them. Okay, I will just close here. So I appreciate your attendance today. I hope it's been useful. Okay, so obviously we'll be updating these sessions. What you see now is live, is part of what happened with the migration a couple of days ago in terms of the transition to it. So those features are there, but obviously some things need to be configured, need to be switched on for you. So obviously you can reach out to your local account teams at EBSCO. We would often recommend also going to direct EBSCO Connect for support information, but also you can request an account for EBSCO Connect. And what I might do here is also send a link in the chat to the form as well, so that you could do that. So if you don't have access to EBSCO Connect, I will just put a link to the request form, and that will allow you to request an account, set up an account to access EBSCO Connect, and that in turn will give the option to have access to the case management system, which allows you to make requests, enhancement requests, report service issues. If you are in the NHS in England, you have your own service desk, so you should always go through them first with any technical issues that you have, especially in light of recent changes and obviously the move to the new interface. Please go to them first. Okay, thank you very much.